Archbishop Paul Coakley just named president of the USCCB. There's a lot happening right now in the church, in the world. As you consider your role now, what do you think your main priority is going to be?
To preach the gospel. I mean, I think to bear witness to the mandate to go make disciples. I mean, I think that's, as a conference, that's our primary responsibility, and it's our primary priority pastorally, is to make disciples and to build up the church. So, and we do that at a time and in a setting that is fraught with many challenges. So we have to be mindful of that as well.
Can you give us a sort of state of the Catholic Church right now in America? Is the church having an impact on society?
I think the church is having a profound impact on society. I think our voice is respected. Our voice is often prophetic and countercultural. I know I come from Oklahoma City, and we're a very small percentage of Catholics, 6% maybe at the most in Oklahoma, and yet in a certain sense I always say we kind of hit above our weight class. People are interested in what the church has to say, what our position might be on this or that or the other matter, whether it be healthcare or immigration or whatever. So I think we have a responsibility to speak the truth with love and to speak it with clarity and always with charity.
One of the concerns of the bishops is how political decisions can have an effect on vulnerable people. When you consider some of the actions of the Trump administration when it comes to immigration, but other issues as well, are the actions helping people? Are they hurting people?
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, I think, we have to hew a fine line in articulating where we stand with regard to political actors and in public policy. As Catholics, we don't align clearly with either party, with any party. And so we're very often categorized and mischaracterized as leaning one way or another. So I think we are having an impact in many areas of public life. I think the challenging situation which we are facing with regard to immigration and immigrants, I think we have a responsibility to speak up and to speak out, but to do it in a balanced and measured way, a prophetic way, but I think we need to clearly articulate where we as Catholics stand and where we as bishops stand.
Based on what you're seeing from the Trump administration when it comes to enforcement or the actions of ICE, can you summarize how concerned the bishops are? It seems like there is some real concern there.
I think there's a lot of concern, especially from our brothers along the border in many of the dioceses. I think we are all for legal immigration. We're all for providing access for people to enter this country legally. But I think one of the concerns that we're seeing with regard to some of the enforcement measures is that they're not really exclusively targeting
criminals,
people who are here with criminal records. I think a lot of innocent people are being swept up in this and have committed no crimes other than being in this country without proper documentation, current documentation. They may have come here at one time with proper documentation, but perhaps their visas have expired, or whether they came on a student visa, or whatever it might have been. So I think there needs to be a little more nuance, I think, in the way that enforcement measures are being undertaken. One of the real concerns that we as bishops have, I think, is regarding the R1 visas and the religious worker visas. Every bishop, I think, has a reliance on religious workers from other countries, and it's become very difficult to apply for and receive in a timely fashion a renewal of those visas. And so many parishes and Catholic institutions are losing particularly their pastors, because they're being forced to return to their home countries and to reapply for. There just needs to be I think, a more expedited and timely manner for processing these kind of requests, so that we as pastors can care for our people.
We now have the first American Pope. What could that mean for conversion, for evangelization in this country? What is your hope?
Well, I'm really hopeful. I was very surprised, like the rest of the world, I think, when the cardinals in conclave selected Cardinal Prevost. But I'm very hopeful. I look forward to meeting him. I've not had an opportunity yet to meet him. But one thing I think, he's a pope, from the United States. In fact, he spent time in Oklahoma. He was on the board at Cascia Hall, an Augustinian institution in Tulsa. So he knows Oklahoma. He knows the United States. He's a missionary, of course. He spent much of his priestly and episcopal ministry abroad in Peru. But he understands, I think, our American mindset in a way that I think is going to be helpful to us. And it's going to be attractive to many of our countrymen as they wrap their heads and minds and hearts around what it means to have an American shepherd, Supreme Pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church. He speaks our language in the sense that from a cultural standpoint. I mean, he's a big fan of the Chicago White Sox, for example. I mean, those kind of
some people would disagree with that.
Well, I know. I'm not sure I agree with that either. I'm from Kansas City, but the fact that he understands some of the cultural values that are dear to many Americans, I think that's going to be helpful. I was just looking back in history, the mistrust that many people in our nation had toward Catholics because we were under a foreign head of state. And I remember when John Kennedy was elected president in 1960, that was a huge breakthrough. The Catholic president of the United States, but there has always lingered a certain reticence among many Americans about Catholics and where our allegiances lie, to the Pope in Rome or to the government of the United States. So I think Pope Leo can have a calming effect, I think, in that regard.
People in the pews, are they aware of the work of the USCCB? Have they heard the statements, the concerns?
That's a very good question. It's a question that we ask ourselves. Is anybody reading the materials that we put out, any of the programs? But I think the conference is involved in many of the things that do impact the lives of everyday Catholics, whether it be in education or providing and approving catechetical materials, ethical and religious directives that govern how we administer health care. And so I think the Church's voice is very, very important, but I think sometimes it's not a voice that is heard.
Why should
I mean, there are
listen?
many voices that there are. I mean, how many voices are speaking?
And why should people listen to the voice of the Church?
Yeah, well, if they're Catholics, we would hope that they would recognize that we have something to say with regard to the handing on of the faith, proclamation of the gospel, and that bishops are entrusted with teaching and governing, sanctifying in the name of Jesus Christ. So.
Your predecessor, in his last speech, he said, much work remains to be done. When you wrap up your term as president of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, what work do you hope to have accomplished?
It's hard to foresee at this stage, but I hope that Jesus Christ will be better known, more deeply loved, and more faithfully served by Catholics and all peoples of goodwill. That would be great. I think evangelization going to make disciples. I mean, that's what the church needs to be about. And if we're faithful to that, that will transform the world. To be salt for the earth, be light for the world.
Archbishop Paul Coakley, we'll be praying for you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you very much. God bless you.